Hi children, happy to see you all. Before going to our bio lesson, we'll see about the two characters which frequently appears in your NCERT textbook. You are so familiar with those two characters. They are nothing but Peheli and Bhoju. So, one day what Peheli did, he went to his garden and plucking up all the ripened tomatoes. Bhoju went and joined with Peheli and Bhoju asked to Peheli, see, we are taking our food from the plants, and from where does these plants get their food, she asked. And then he gave the answer as, plants can make their own food. They are using all the raw materials and they have the capacity to prepare their own food, he said. Yes, children, is it right? And you all are learning in your science subject from the lower classes that the plants can make their own food. And this process of taking food inside and that food which the organisms are taking help for their growth and to carry out their life activities, right? This process only known as nutrition. So what's the meaning of nutrition? Taking food and using that food helps for us for growth and to carry out our life activities. So that process is known as nutrition. So in our today's class, we are going to discuss about the nutrition in plants. What's our today's topic is? Nutrition in plants. Nutrition in plants. How the plants are able to make their own food. What's the speciality of the plants? Why can't we do that process? Right? And the raw materials, what all the raw materials plants need to prepare their own food. You are very familiar with those all. Once we'll have a look on that and quick revision we'll do. Which parts they are using to absorb the water and minerals? Well-known answer this is for you all. Yes, you are right. Those are roots. So with the help of roots, what they are absorbing? They are absorbing water and minerals through their roots. And with a tube-like structures, we can also call them as a tissue. So, by using a tissue, about tissue, you are going to learn in class 8. A group of cells known as tissue. So, here you can understand some tube-like structure which moves around the stem. So, these tube-like structures are taking this water and minerals to the required areas. Where actually this water and minerals are required? Yes, you all are right. In the leaves. Because the leaves prepare the food for plants. You are very familiar with that, right? So these tubes which are carrying this water and minerals, this tissue is known as xylem. The tissue which is carrying water and minerals to the leaves known as xylem. Xylem is helping in this process. And in the leaves, surface of the leaf, tiny openings are present. These tiny openings are known as stomata. So the opening and closing of stomata is controlled by cells known as guard cells. The tiny openings in the leaves known as stomata. The stomata opening and closing is done by guard cells around the stomata, help in this process. So these cells are known as guard cells. Guard cells are helping for opening and closing of stomata. So with the help of this stomata, they'll take the carbon dioxide inside. exchange of gases takes place. They'll take the carbon dioxide inside and they give out the oxygen outside with the help of stomata. So now how many raw materials they are taking? One is water and minerals through xylem and they transport it to the leaves. Leaves are having tiny openings on the surface. Those are known as stomata. Stomata opening and closing is controlled by guard cells. And what else it's using? The most essential thing is that is sunlight. Sunlight is very essential to carry out this photosynthesis process. So directly or indirectly, non-green plants and other all living organisms, depending on the plants, the ultimate source for all the energies is sun. So they are trapping this sun energy, solar energy they trap by using this sunlight's energy, water, minerals, carbon dioxide and a special character that's present only in the plants, that all the leaves are in green color because of a pigment present in them known as chlorophyll. What we call chlorophyll is present in the leaves. Because of this only they are acquiring the green color. So it's taking an important part for preparation of food in plants. So when we see this whole process in an equation, it comes like this. They're using carbon dioxide. Instead of symbols, you can even write word equation. Instead of CO2, the symbol for carbon dioxide is CO2. You can even write here carbon dioxide plus water, H2O they are using, and with the help of sunlight, and chlorophyll, with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll, they are preparing carbohydrates like C6H12O6 means glucose. This is a form of carbohydrate. You learnt in your class 6 the nutrients present in food. Different types of nutrients which are present in our food you learnt, like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. You know very well, right? So by using this carbon dioxide and water, they are preparing carbohydrate, and along with this they are also releasing oxygen. So that oxygen is very essential for all the living organisms for doing respiration process, for breathing, right? So this is the equation for photosynthesis. So the process what plants are doing by using all these raw materials is only known as photosynthesis, and this nutrition which is going on in plants known as autotrophic nutrition. What we call this nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition. So the plants which are undergoing for autotrophic nutrition, they are known as autotrophs. Plants are also known as autotrophs or producers. We can call the plants as autotrophs or producers. In this word, auto means self. Trophy means putting together or combining. That means they are combining all the different raw materials and preparing their own food. So such type of nutrition is known as autotrophic nutrition. All our green plants comes under autotrophic nutrition. They all are autotrophs. So to prove this, you have some activities. We can prove by doing one experiment how the sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis, how carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. By doing one experiment, we can prove that. And we can also prove how chlorophyll is important for photosynthesis. All these experiments I'll explain you in our online class with the experiment setup. Now we will discuss what is the other mode of nutrition in organisms. One is autotrophic nutrition we discussed, and now we will see what is the other mode of nutrition in living. So the nutrition in plants are of two types. One is autotrophic nutrition, just now we discussed, and the other one is heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition. What's the meaning of heterotrophic nutrition? Hetero means other. Trophy means obtaining their food. Okay, as combining in the autotroph, same way the heterotrophs are obtaining their food from the other organisms. Non-green plants, some plants, for example, in our home will grow the croton plants, their leaves will be of different colors. That means, do they have chlorophyll or not? They have the chlorophyll under that colored part. Hidden chlorophyll is present, so they are able to make their own food. They are doing their photosynthesis process. But some plants, even though they have chlorophyll, but they can't get all the required minerals from the soil. So such plants, either directly or indirectly, depending on the green plants to get their food. So such type of organisms are known as heterotrophs. So such type of plants which are getting their food from the green plants are known as heterotrophic plants. Heterotrophs. So heterotrophic plants are of four types again. They are saprophytic, symbiotic, parasitic, and insectivorous. Saprophytic, symbiotic, parasitic and insectivorous. There are different types of heterotrophic plants. About each one we'll discuss now. What are the meaning of saprophytic and how they undergo for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis process will not take place in them. Then how do these saprophyte obtain their food? We'll see now. To understand this saprophyte, you can do one small experiment. Take a slice of bread, sprinkle some water on this bread and keep it in a closed box for one day like that. And then by the third day, you can observe some white color part, thread-like structures you can see. These structures are known as hyphae. From this hyphae, when you keep it like that for some more hours, you can even see a sporangium grows and have a sporangiophore. Sporangium, a long tube-like structure, sporangium, and a head-shaped part, sporangiophore. Inside this sporangiophore, black colored dots present. They are known as spores. So whenever the spores get matured, this sporangiophore gets breakdown and all these spores fall on this substrate again and they can give rise to another sporangium in this way. Sporangiophore and sporangium. When the sporangium get breakdown, all the spores fall on the substrate and can give rise to another sporangiophore. So in this way, they will produce the new plants. So such type of nutrition, that means they are depending on organic matter. They are depending on organic matter. To obtain their nutrition, they are depending on organic matter. And sometimes they can also depend on dead and decayed parts of plants and animals. So that's also, the dead parts of the plant also contain organic matter. Organic matter is nothing but the nutrient parts are present. Like your carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. That means these all the elements present in this organic matter. So they obtain their nutrition from this organic matter. So the organisms are the plants which are depending on the organic matter. They are known as saprophytes. Our mushrooms, you all know the mushrooms, right? So these mushrooms are also growing on organic matter. So they are also one example of saprophytes. The bread mold, the fungus which is growing on the bread, is known as bread mold. So bread mold is also example for saprophytes. So the saprophytes are growing on organic matter. They obtain their nutrients from the organic matter. And when the sporangium and the sporangiophore and sporangium develop, the spores fall on the substrate again. They can give rise to the new plants. So this type of nutrition is known as saprophytic nutrition. And now if we see symbiotic nutrition, you all know the pulses. About pulses you learnt. We get proteins from pulses. You learnt this all in your lower classes. All these pulses are kept in one family known as leguminous family. What we call leguminous family. Have to understand, to read about the different plants, there are millions of plants around us. So botanists, the scientists who read about the plants known as botanists, he arranged the plants into different families. So the plants which are giving us pulses, all these plants comes under leguminous family. So these leguminous family plants are having a special character. These leguminous plants have a special character in their roots. Their roots, leguminous pulses means what examples you can give for the pulses? Which plants we can call them coming under pulses group? Like your peas, groundnuts, groundnut plants, peas plants, black gram plant, Bengal gram plant and green gram. This all comes under pulses family. So pulses family known as leguminous family. So the leguminous family plants, all the plants have root nodules. A white color swollen part is present in their roots. If anybody have these plants, pulses plants in your home, just pluck it out along with the roots slowly and observe on their roots. A white color swollen part can be seen. These are nothing but root nodules. We can call them as root nodules. So what is there inside this root nodule? In what way it's helping to the plants? Pulses plants will see now. So inside this root nodule, when we cut this root nodule slowly and when you observe under the microscope, these two experiments definitely will do when our physical class starts. So when we cut this root nodule and slowly observe under the microscope, you can see a bacteria inside this. Inside this root nodule, we can see a bacteria. That bacteria name is Rhizobium. Which bacteria is present in the root nodule? Rhizobium bacteria is present in the root nodules of leguminous plants, pulses plants. So what function this rhizobium is doing for the leguminous crop? What function it's doing for the leguminous crop? Generally, you know the different elements present in air. Air is a mixture of gases, right? What are the different gases present in air, you know? Like carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and these all percentages also you know very well. So in atmosphere, how much percent of nitrogen is present? 78% of nitrogen is present in air. And the nitrogen is very essential for plant growth. It is helping for the plants, for their growth. It's a compulsory nutrient for the plant. But these plants cannot take directly the atmospheric nitrogen. They don't have the capacity, legume plants do not have the capacity to absorb the atmospheric nitrogen and to use for their life activities or for their growth. So what they are doing? This rhizobium bacteria has that capacity to convert the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrites and nitrates. Nitrites and nitrates. It can convert the simple N into, simple N means nitrogen, only N means nitrogen. It's converting into NO2 and NO3. Nitrite and nitrate. Okay. So when it is converted into nitrite and nitrate, the plants are able to utilize the nitrogen. So that work Rhizobium bacteria is carrying out in legume plants. Instead of this, what Rhizobium bacteria is getting from the legume plant? It's taking shelter from the legume plant. It's living on these roots. So they are mutually getting benefit, understanding each other. I'll give you shelter to you, you give me nitrate and nitrate. There is a bond between this Rhizobium bacteria and the leguminous plant. They are mutually understanding. That's why these plants are known as symbiotic plants. And the nutrition which takes place in them is known as symbiotic nutrition. Understood, children? So just now we discussed about saprophytic, symbiotic, and now we will discuss about parasitic and insectivores. We will discuss about parasitic and